Bombshell in Minnesota. A trade just happened that will shock you. The Vikings are constantly spending money and are in advanced negotiations for a new quarterback to strengthen the franchise, and it's a name we already know. But first, if you're an NFL fan and don't want to miss any trades and stay up to date on everything, subscribe to our channel. Here you'll be the first to know everything. And leave your like too, because your like helps us reach more people. Now, enough of the chatter. Let's get to today's news. Vikings prepare to evaluate promising running back in draft. The Minnesota Vikings surprised the NFL in 2024 with an impressive 14-3 record, cementing themselves as one of the best teams in the NFC. Although many analysts did not give the team much credit before the season, the Vikings proved their critics wrong by playing dominant and competitive football. Despite their recent success, the team has suffered significant losses due to free agency and trades, creating the need to replenish the roster with new talent. Among the positions that deserve special attention is running back. Although the Vikings have secured the retention of Aaron Jones, the franchise has made it clear that they still intend to add at least one more player to the position, aiming to ensure a plan B for the future in case Jones loses performance due to age. The team has already begun the process of evaluating potential reinforcements and is intensifying its pre-draft analysis. Among the prospects observed, one intriguing name has entered the radar: Brashard Smith, running back from SMU. The athlete himself confirmed to reporter Joe Hoyt during his pro day that he has a meeting scheduled with the Vikings. Smith is a player with an interesting college trajectory. He spent 3 seasons in Miami before transferring to SMU, where he finally had the opportunity to show his full potential. Last season, he shone, accumulating 1,332 rushing yards and scoring 14 touchdowns, becoming a key piece in his team's offense. In addition to his ability as a runner, Smith also offers versatility in the passing game. During his final season, he recorded 39 receptions for 327 yards and scored 4 more touchdowns, demonstrating his ability to contribute as a receiver coming out of the backfield. This trait could be an important differentiator for the Vikings, who historically value running backs with good receiving ability. The big question that remains is whether the Vikings will invest in a running back in the early rounds of the draft or if they will wait to select a talent in later rounds. This year's RB class is considered deep, giving the team plenty of options to bolster the position without having to spend high picks. However, if Smith continues to impress in the draft, he could become a top target for the team. Regardless of the final decision, one thing is certain: the Vikings are determined to ensure their running attack remains a dominant force, whether it's with Aaron Jones at the helm or with a new talent ready to step up when needed. Vikings consider return of beloved quarterback. Hope for a new era in Minnesota. The Minnesota Vikings have been on a roller coaster of emotions over the past 2 years when it comes to the quarterback position. What looked like a promising 2023 season quickly turned into a chaotic scenario of injuries and improvisation. The franchise has seen no less than 5 different quarterbacks take over the starting job, which puts the Vikings in an unusual position, only behind the Cleveland Browns, who have tried 7 quarterbacks in that period. Injuries to Kirk Cousins and Jaren Hall, coupled with inconsistent performances, have left fans in constant anxiety, week after week, wondering who will lead the team's offense. The Minnesota Vikings story last season was marked by difficult decisions and unexpected changes. Kirk Cousins' injury, at a crucial moment, was the starting point for a series of turnarounds. With the veteran absent, the Vikings turned to makeshift options, including Sean Mannion, who had to play in a minor game against the Chicago Bears, and even a pivotal matchup against the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field when Cousins tested positive for COVID-19. However, the real drama began when the Vikings lost Cousins for an extended period of time. Over the next 9 games, the team saw Jaren Hall, Nick Mullins, and Joshua Dobbs rotate through the starting lineup. Each brought their own mix of hope and disappointment, but it was Joshua Dobbs' arrival that truly stole the hearts of Minnesota fans. In a season full of uncertainty, Dobbs became an unexpected shining light. In one of the most surreal moments of the season, Dobbs came to the Vikings in an impromptu trade with the Arizona Cardinals when the team was desperate for a quarterback and the veteran was on the verge of being discarded. The scenario was anything but ideal. Dobbs didn't know the playbook or the names of his receivers. However, destiny had something great in store for him. In his first start, after Jaren Hall suffered a concussion early in the game against the Atlanta Falcons, Dobbs stepped onto the field without warning, and what followed was a memorable feat in a comeback game. He led the Vikings to a historic victory, achieving a feat that seemed impossible. In the following game, Dobbs shone again, leading the team to a victory over the New Orleans Saints and earning even more of the trust and love of Minnesota fans. However, like the roller coaster of a tumultuous season, Dobbs' rise also had its decline. As the weeks passed, the turnovers began to pile up and, although his initial magic was undeniable, Dobbs eventually lost his starting spot. Even so, his journey of shortcomings and surprises left an eternal mark on Vikings history and in the hearts of fans. What seemed like Dobbs would be leaving the Vikings at the end of 2023 may, surprisingly, not be the end of his story with the team. Star Tribune reporter Ben Goesling brought up a piece of news that has rekindled the flame of hope in Minnesota. The franchise is considering a possible return for Dobbs for the 2025 season. On his podcast, Goesling revealed that the Vikings have been looking at the possibility of bringing the quarterback back for a second stint with the team. I heard this week that Josh Dobbs was a name they were considering for a second season in Minnesota. Goesling said, "They're keeping an eye on that market." With J.J. McCarthy projected as the future of the franchise, but still recovering from knee surgery and having yet to play a single snap in the NFL, the idea of having an experienced backup like Dobbs, who has already demonstrated his adaptability and leadership, makes perfect sense. The prospect of relying on McCarthy without a solid backup is undoubtedly risky, especially when considering the goal of competing in the 2025 playoffs. Dobbs' arrival at the Vikings exemplified how football is sometimes a game of chance and improvisation. When Kirk Cousins was injured, the franchise was in a desperate moment. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals were ready to reintegrate Kyler Murray into the team and no longer saw any use for Dobbs. In this situation, Vikings general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah wasted no time in closing the deal to bring in Dobbs, giving him a chance to save the team's season. His impact was immediate and surprising. Dobbs, unfamiliar with the playbook or chemistry with his teammates, led one of the biggest comebacks of the season against the Falcons. In the following game, he dominated the New Orleans Saints, proving that even without the ideal preparation, his talent and courage were unmatched. Vikings' future, looking for a reliable backup. While the possibility of Dobbs' return has captured fans' imaginations, the Vikings are still exploring other options in the quarterback market. Names like Joe Flacco, Ryan Tannehill, Carson Wentz, and Case Keenum have been rumored as potential backups to McCarthy, who is expected to take over as the starting quarterback soon. Dobbs, now 30, may have his Minnesota story over for now. But in football, as we know, anything can happen. In a sport where the winds of change are constant, perhaps Dobbs' unlikely return to the Vikings is more than a possibility, an opportunity to rewrite one of the franchise's most exciting stories. In the meantime, Minnesota fans continue to wait, hoping that stability will finally come to the team's most important position. And who knows, maybe the future of Joshua Dobbs and the Vikings are still intertwined in ways no one could have predicted.